and they mocked her rifle setup, until the instructor whispered, "Only snipers like best Reddit stories." The final challenge would take place aboard a derelict space station orbiting a dead world. Intelligence reports suggested the facility housed a terrorist cell planning attacks against civilian targets across 3 star systems. The mission was simple in concept, but terrifying in execution. Eliminate the leadership while they attended a crucial planning meeting, prevent the activation of a weapons system capable of sterilizing entire planets, and escape before the station's failing reactor achieved critical mass. The 4 remaining competitors would work individually, approaching the station from different vectors. Success would be measured not just by mission completion, but by the method and efficiency of execution. The elite guard required operatives capable of functioning independently under impossible conditions. Instructor Thane's weathered face remained impassive as he delivered the briefing, but Sarah caught something in his eyes, a flicker of recognition that suggested this scenario was based on actual events. The details were too specific, too precisely crafted to be mere simulation. "The station's life support systems are failing," he continued, his voice carrying the weight of experience. "Atmospheric integrity cannot be guaranteed. The reactor core shows signs of cascade failure that could occur at any moment. Enemy forces include hardened veterans equipped with military-grade weapons and extensive knowledge of the station's layout." Captain Theiss flexed her 4 arms nervously, her compound eyes reflecting the holographic display of the target facility. "What intelligence assets are available for coordination and support?" "None." The instructor's reply carried finality that made several observers shift uncomfortably. "You will enter dark, operate independently, and extract under your own power. Communications will be jammed. Backup will not be available. Failure means death, but success means civilian populations across multiple worlds will survive." Lieutenant Vexitar's crystalline skin flickered with bioluminescent patterns that indicated stress among his species. "The time limit for reactor failure? Unknown. The engineering assessment suggests anywhere from 30 minutes to 6 hours. You must complete the mission and extract before the station becomes a miniature star." Sarah listened to the briefing while mentally cataloging the challenges ahead. The scenario pushed beyond normal military operations into the realm where only exceptional individuals could succeed. Her rifle would face conditions it was never designed to handle, in an environment where a single mistake would mean not just mission failure, but certain death. The alien competitors prepared their equipment with visible tension. Their advanced weapons required power sources, atmospheric seals, and complex targeting systems that might malfunction in the hostile environment of a failing space station. Their technology provided advantages but also created vulnerabilities. Sarah's preparation was simpler but no less thorough. Her rifle required no power beyond her own muscle, no atmospheric seals beyond basic environmental protection, no complex systems that could fail when conditions exceeded design parameters. The weapon had been built to function regardless of environment, requiring only ammunition and the skill to use it effectively. The approach vectors took them through the asteroid field surrounding the dead world, using the debris to mask their signatures from station sensors. Sarah piloted her infiltration pod with skills learned in the Outer Rim colonies, where navigation through dangerous space was a survival requirement rather than an academic exercise. The station loomed ahead like a wounded beast, its hull scarred by micrometeor impacts and radiation exposure. Emergency lighting flickered through viewport openings while atmosphere vented from multiple breaches. The facility had clearly been abandoned by its original builders and repurposed by whoever now occupied its failing systems. Sarah docked her pod at a maintenance airlock far from the main docking bays. Her approach had been planned to avoid detection systems while providing multiple escape routes if the mission went wrong. The ancient rifle slung across her back felt reassuring in its familiar weight and balance. The station's interior confirmed the briefing's warnings. Atmospheric integrity was compromised, requiring environmental suits that limited mobility and vision. Emergency power provided minimal lighting, while failing systems created unpredictable hazards throughout the facility. Sarah moved through the corridors like a shadow, her training in zero-gravity operations allowing her to navigate the failing station without triggering motion sensors or structural vibrations. The rifle's simple mechanical systems functioned perfectly in the hostile environment where more complex weapons might malfunction. Her first objective was intelligence gathering. The terrorist leadership would be meeting in the station's former command center, but she needed to understand their defensive arrangements and the location of the planetary weapon system. The alien competitors would likely rely on their sensors and scanning equipment to gather information, but Sarah used direct observation and logical deduction. The terrorists had positioned guards at obvious choke points while leaving alternate routes undefended. Their equipment suggested military backgrounds, but their tactical deployment revealed thinking that favored technology over strategic understanding. They expected enemies to approach with advanced weapons and sophisticated detection equipment. Sarah's route through maintenance passages and service tunnels brought her within striking distance of the command center undetected. Through a damaged bulkhead, she could see the terrorist leadership gathered around a holographic display showing planetary targets across 3 star systems. The planning session revealed the scope of their intended attack. Civilian populations on agricultural worlds would be targeted first, followed by industrial centers, and finally the core systems where billions lived in cities that stretched across continents. The weapons system they controlled could sterilize entire hemispheres with focused radiation bursts. Her position offered clear shots at all 5 terrorist leaders, but the tactical situation was complicated by the failing reactor and the need to prevent weapon activation. The alien competitors would likely attempt to eliminate the leaders first and worry about the weapon system later, but Sarah understood that success required addressing both objectives simultaneously. She studied the command center's layout and the terrorists' behavior patterns, noting how their leader's death would trigger automated systems that could activate the planetary weapon before it could be disabled. The solution required precise timing and an understanding of human psychology that no computer could calculate. The first shot eliminated the technical specialist responsible for weapon activation, striking him as he reached for the control interface. The projectile's impact severed his spinal cord while simultaneously damaging the activation console beyond immediate repair. The second shot followed instantly, killing the group's military commander before he could organize a response. Sarah's understanding of command structures told her that removing this individual would create confusion that would delay any coordinated reaction. The third, fourth, and fifth shots came in rapid succession as Sarah worked her rifle's bolt action with practiced efficiency. Each terrorist leader died before understanding they were under attack, their advanced personal defense systems useless against projectiles traveling faster than their sensors could track. The command center erupted in chaos as surviving terrorists tried to understand what had happened. Their scanning equipment detected no energy signatures, no plasma trails, no guided projectile systems that might indicate the source of the attack. The deaths appeared to have come from nowhere. Sarah was already moving toward the weapon control center when the terrorists finally located her approximate position. Their return fire filled the corridors with energy beams that would have detected and destroyed any conventional infiltrator, but she had already ghosted through the station to her secondary objective. The planetary weapon occupied the station's former main hangar, a massive apparatus that could focus stellar radiation into concentrated beams capable of sterilizing worlds from interplanetary distances. Disabling it required more than simple destruction. The device needed to be rendered permanently inoperable without triggering the fusion reaction that would destroy the station prematurely. Sarah's solution came from understanding the weapon's design principles rather than its technical specifications. The focusing array required precise alignment to function correctly, alignment that could be disrupted by removing specific components rather than destroying the entire system. Her shots targeted the control mechanisms that maintained the focusing array's position, using the rifle's precision to damage systems in ways that would prevent repair. The weapon would survive the station's destruction, but it would never again be capable of the precise targeting necessary to threaten planetary populations. The mission's completion triggered the station's self-destruct sequence as failing systems finally reached cascade failure. Sarah's escape route took her through sections of the station where atmospheric pressure was already dropping toward vacuum, but her rifle continued to function perfectly in conditions that would disable more sophisticated weapons. Her infiltration pod launched from the maintenance airlock just as the station's reactor achieved critical mass. The explosion that followed illuminated the asteroid field like a new star. But Sarah was already accelerating toward the extraction point, where Instructor Thane waited aboard a military vessel. When Sarah docked with the extraction ship, she found the alien competitors already aboard. Captain Thias had succeeded in eliminating the terrorist leadership, but failed to disable the weapon system before emergency extraction became necessary. Lieutenant Vextar had destroyed the weapon, but failed to prevent activation of backup systems that would have targeted civilian populations if not for Sarah's more comprehensive approach. The fourth competitor had suffered equipment failure when his advanced weapon systems proved unable to function reliably in the station's hostile environment. His extraction had been necessary to prevent his capture by terrorists who had adapted their defenses to counter the alien technology they expected to face. Instructor Thane studied the mission reports with an expression that revealed nothing of his thoughts. The results spoke for themselves. Only one competitor had achieved complete mission success under conditions that tested the absolute limits of military capability. As they traveled back to the academy, the alien competitors looked at Sarah with newfound understanding. Her primitive rifle had succeeded where their advanced technology had failed, not through superior firepower, but through reliability, precision, and the irreplaceable value of human adaptability. The instructor waited until they were alone before approaching Sarah in the ship's observation deck. His scarred face showed the first smile she had seen from him during the entire competition. "Your family has a tradition of military service," he said quietly, his voice carrying respect that hadn't been there before. "I served with your grandfather during the frontier wars. He saved my life 3 times using that same rifle." Sarah looked up from cleaning her weapon, surprised by the revelation. "You knew him?" "I knew them all. Your great-grandfather held the line at New Geneva. Your grandmother broke the siege of Kepler Station. Your grandfather turned the tide at Proxima Ridge." The instructor's eyes held memories of battles fought in the darkness between stars. "They all carried that rifle, and they all understood what you've proven today." The weapon in Sarah's hands suddenly felt heavier with the weight of history. "What did I prove?" "That technology is only as good as the warrior who wields it. That there are some things no computer can calculate. That humanity's greatest weapon has always been the human behind the weapon." He paused, studying her with eyes that had seen too many battles. The elite guard needs that kind of understanding. As the academy grew larger in the viewport ahead, Sarah understood that her acceptance into the elite guard was assured. But more than that, she had proven something fundamental about human nature and the value of tradition in a galaxy that increasingly relied on technology to solve every problem. The alien cadets who had mocked her rifle setup now sought her advice about combat tactics and the importance of understanding weapons rather than simply operating them. They had learned that advancement didn't always mean improvement, and that sometimes the old ways survived because they worked better than anything that had replaced them. Instructor Thane's final words before they docked at the academy would stay with Sarah throughout her career in the elite guard. "Only snipers understand that the best weapon is the one you know completely. trust absolutely, and can depend on when everything else fails. Reddit stories are full of technological marvels, but the greatest stories are about the people who succeed despite the odds. The competition was over, but Sarah's real education was just beginning. The elite guard would teach her new skills and provide her with advanced equipment, but she would never abandon the rifle that had carried her family through generations of warfare. Some lessons could only be learned through tradition, and some weapons improved with age rather than obsolescence.